discussion about macro. In case we've got any new faces here, I'm Diane. I'll be MC tonight. Have we got any visitors, first of all? Anybody new? No, you've been here before, haven't you? Yes, yes. Oh, sorry. And what's your name? Kieran, welcome. Is it your first night here? No, I came last week. Oh, well, I wasn't here. I've been away, so welcome. And obviously we didn't frighten you last week, so you've come back for another session. Yeah, nice to meet you, and I hope you enjoy the evening. Okay, so I've got my notes. I left them at home. So I believe John Suckling, was he here somewhere? Did you want to talk to us? Or not? Or shall I just announce what's... Just briefly, about his walk.
We're hoping the gods are kind to us next Sunday. And as I explained in the email that he had sent out, I want to try and make it more interactive, where we work together to try and get some interest. I want to try and make it a bit more interactive than we've had other times, where people have gone off and done their own thing. So I'll bring my camera and put it on a tripod, and if anyone has a tripod, I suggest bringing it, because you can then look at something and critique it as you're doing it and move it and see whether that's an improvement or not. So a sort of discussion, having a go, looking at graffiti, trying to get art out of graffiti, not recording graffiti images. And then the second session would be a free flow one where people can just use the environment however they like.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, John. I'll stick with this for a minute because I need to move around because that's the way I am. So tonight we've got print 4 and the critique will be read by Nicola, but I'm just reading what Diana sent out. Critique practice, I believe, next week at 7 o'clock. I'm not sure what that involves because I've been away. So are we bringing images in, Ian? Yep. Hang on. Sorry, roving mic.
This was Tim's suggestion. It's similar to what we did last year with the New Zealand Landscape Salon not accepted images. So if you had something that's not accepted and you want us to talk about, can you put it in the whatever those called? Showcase. There's a showcase Dennis put up the other day. I haven't checked it, but he said he put it up, so it should be there. Okay. Has anybody else had a problem with it? Anybody tried? Okay. Anyway, if people, I'll go and have a look tomorrow as well, but Dennis said he did it. We'll fix it if it isn't fixed. But the point, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through and pretty much show you what the selectors do with all the images, just to get a bit of a feel for how the selection process works, and then we'll critique just by talking about collectively those images of people who didn't get selected and want to have a talk about it. The other thing it's worth pointing out that getting 0 images accepted out of 4 was the most common result, so don't feel too upset about it. I'll show you next time what they did and went through the pictures that are there. It's just kind of where the line falls, that when they're looking at all the images going, that one's in and that's out, and then when you're getting to the just in, just out, sometimes you get in the situation, well, if that one's out, then that one and that one and that one are out as well, because they're all that sort of level. So wherever the line falls, it falls. And so we actually went through and almost cracked the whip and said, accept some more, you buggers. And they went, nah, that's it. So, yeah.
Okay, so this is purely it's purely for the New Zealand landscape images, not just anything else. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, well, sorry about that. I'm playing a bit of catch-up because I've been away. What else have we got here? I've lost my place now. Tony Hickland, you're here. You're doing a talk for us. Do you have, apparently? No? Yeah, the 15th. Have you got a topic for that? Is it the one you did for the NZIPP? No? Or something else? More forensic-based. Oh, super. All right. That'll be an interesting night. That'll be great. Look forward to that, Tony. And then you've got the showcase from John. It's all in the notes that Diana sent out. We don't really need to do this anymore. Diana's very efficient and comprehensive. Yeah, exactly. So, okay. So, without further ado, we will start print 4, if you don't mind. Thank you. The judge was Cushla Moorhead.
Right, I'm back. This is a school one. I like the abstract feel to the image, and I could see what attracted the author. I feel there is a lot going on in the right bottom corner that calls my attention. So the nativity area needs to stand out more strongly than it does for me. The texture on the rock is interesting, especially the bands of the different colours in the bottom right corner. Lost among the leaves. The bright red leaf petal catches my eye, and I keep coming back to it because the colour stands out in all of the brown. The other bit catches my eye is the white lettering. As the title says, the rest is lost in the leaves. I feel the story needs to be stronger. Maybe it would feel better without the red, but that is what holds my attention and keeps my attention on the edge of the frame. Sunset silhouettes. The deep blue of the sky draws me to the lighter colours on the horizon. The trail across the sky and its reflection creates depth for me. The silhouette of the tree feels unbalanced as the weight is leaning to the frame and gets lost in the dark sky. If there was more room on the right of the tree, it would have felt better. It would have a better feel. For me, part of the image that attracts me is the area to the left of the tree with the delicate colours and the better story. Ostrich wandering. Placing the bird on the third with plenty of room to move into gives the space that it needs. Rim lighting works best with the dark background so that it outlines the subject. Here, the background is very bright, so it takes all the attention away from the ostrich. More light on the ostrich in post-production and darkening of the background would have made the ostrich easier to see. The image is sharp and the ostrich has some detail in its feathers. Lake Mahinapua. There is a tranquil feel to this image. The land in the foreground, though through the reeds to the water on the far side, covered in bush, and then the glimpse of the mountains in the background create the sensational depth. I can see it's a cloudy day, yet I feel adding some contrast in post-production would make it a stronger image. The composition needs a focal point to it, even just more light in one place. I like the clarity of it and the peacefulness. Open wide. I wouldn't like to be too close to that mouth and those teeth. It feels a little bit scary. The rocks in the background give an indication of the habitat, as does the water. I feel the rocks need some darkening as they compete for attention with the hippo because they're so light. The light attracts my attention away from the animal. I like the way the image tells me more about the hippopotamus and its environment. Autumn willow. I love the subtle colour palette of this image and the way the colours blend and weave into each other. Although there are some darker colours to the side, I feel that a vignette would give depth to the image. As it is, I need somewhere to rest my eyes, a focal point that draws my attention. In this image, my eyes roam. The lighter threads of colour give some movement, so I can feel that swaying of the willow branching in the breeze. Opposites attract. This is an intriguing image. I like the lateral thinking that has gone into this. I feel it is let down by the end of the last fork going out of the image, as it tends to draw my eyes out too. The blue ball is a focal point, yet to me, because of its placement in the frame, it isn't balanced. There is some smudging near the edge of the frame between the fork and the reflection too that need to be cleaned up in post-processing. This is the first of the acceptances, pattern on the beach. The patterns are interesting with the repetition and variety of shapes. The boat adds an anchor and a focal point. I feel that slightly more contrast, which would make the image stronger. The different amount of margin at the bottom doesn't enhance the image, in my opinion, and it gives it more of a feel of not having a mat to fit. The texture in the beach areas give it depth. It does feel tranquil. Rhesus something sense danger in Kathmandu. The monkeys certainly don't look very happy, more like they're cuddling up to each other, which portrays a feeling of anxiety to me. The turquoise colour is good foil for all the browns. I notice a lighter patch to the left of the first monkey's shoulder, and I wonder if there had been some burning done here, but a patch missed. I know that the light available often isn't the best, so I feel some more contrast would have done in post-production. I love all the details in the monkeys and how sharp the image is. On the beach. For me, there is a feeling of curiosity here. I'm wondering what the bear has in front of it. The depth of field has been well handled so that the bear is sharp. There is enough colour and texture to distinguish between the beach and the black background to give the image a base. If the bear had been on the left of the image, I feel it would have made a better flow because of the way the bear's body is positioned. Being on the third gives balance to it. I like the detail of the fur, especially on its neck, and I love the simplicity of the image. Illusion. I love the thinking that has gone into this image. The line between the two colours is sharp, as is the nearest edge of the light leading into it. The shape of the vase with the ridges around the sides gives depth. I'm wondering if the balance would feel more satisfying if the vase was shifted to the left rather than in the centre. This would make a stronger composition, I feel. The light would lead across more of the image too. Texture on the table in the background gives interest and contrast with the very smooth finish on the vase. Honey eater. What a pretty bird. It feels like it's on the lookout. The colours are lovely and all aspects of the bird are sharp. I do feel the bird needs to be further to the left in the frame, especially as it is looking out to the right of the frame, and that tends to take my eye out as well. The composition would feel more balanced and flow better with that happening. The colour of the branch complements the bird and gives it a second frame. Meeting friends. The light on the young giraffes leading the way attracts my eye. The shutter speed has captured the action with 2 feet off the ground and the swish of the tail. It's unfortunate the centre giraffe hasn't got more light on it, yet the main parts are lit. I like how it's sizing up what's going on. The one bringing up the rear completes the family. The two zebra in the background add to the tableau. The church. Encaustic means to burn, so the colours in this print have been burnt in, an unusual and interesting effect, as well as the different textures. It adds a ghostly feel to this image in my view. I'm excited that someone has explored this technique. I have seen it in painting and mixed media before, but not photography prints. I find the area to the right of the church is too bright for the rest of the image. Even though it is such a small area, the lightness catches my eye and takes away for the church itself. The positioning of the church on the third creates balance. The changes in the wax creates a swirling effect of mist. It feels haunted. Dusk. There is a feeling of spaciousness and tranquility in this image. The colour palette is restful and the complementary colours of blue and orange tone well. The dark area on the left I feel could have been cropped in so that only a fringe of it is there. That, I feel, would balance the image with the visual weight more evenly spread. The two figures show the scale and a pop of interest, a focal point. The paper this image is printed on adds subtle texture to the image which I like. White tulips. There is a lovely, soft, peaceful feel to this image. The texture adds to that filmy look. I feel that the white tulips appear into the background and I find myself looking more at the leaves, which I feel is not the subject. The table with a shadow adds some depth to the image. High acceptance, swirl light. I love the different colours and how joyful they feel. The sense of movement adds to the feeling of joy. I'm impressed by the perfect semicircle, which gives it a sense of structure. The reflection finishes and anchors the image for me. The background showcases the lights well. Come in. Kia rivalry. I love watching these cheeky birds. This is a great catch to see them interacting like this. The beaks are definitely the focal point and hold my attention. I feel the print is slightly underexposed, probably due to the dull day. The detail is sharp with a catch of light in the eyes. The blurred background suits the image and perfects the composition. A great story. Suresh Sherpa from Nepal. The bright colours frame the face of this man, giving hints of its ethnicity. The image is very sharp, even down to the branding on his cigarette. The light on his nose has made the image burnt out, so it looks like a white blaze, and the light on 3 of his fingers is like that too, although not quite burnt out. I see it as happening in the printing. The placement of the man's head on the angle gives interest to the portrait. Littleton Port Marina in the fog. It's interesting to see this marina in the fog, which gives me a surreal feeling of being detached from reality, afloat in the abyss. This is further compounded by the reflections of the pole so that I can't be sure where everything actually begins and ends. The bright pink adds to that feeling as it feels such a contrast to the other colours. I think the top of the image could have been closer to the poles to bring more emphasis to the components in the image. The closest buoy is too close to the frame and throws the balance of the image for me. An option would have been to move it in Photoshop or another editing program. I like the slight ripple of the water, which gives texture to the sea while still leaving it subtle enough to keep the surreal feel. Fur seal pup. This baby seal is so cute. What makes this image for me is the tiny bit of tongue showing. It adds a dimension that is unusual. The detail in its heads and fur is well portrayed and the background is unobtrusive. What's this on? Where am I up to? 5? Honours, thank you. I love the flow and movement here. The different shades of blue give it structure and shape. There are some faint blue bits to the left of the main part which I feel needed to be cleaned up in post-production. Otherwise, it's a delight to see and follow down the line of blobs. It is simple and yet complex, and it holds my attention. Dunes in the afternoon, Namib Desert. This amazing S-curve captures my attention. The colour of the sand emphasises it well. I feel it could be an even stronger image as the top clouds, if the top clouds were cropped out so that there is only one above the hill. Maybe there aren't enough pixels for that. The sweep of the slope up to the peak leads me to the focal point. The smaller hills in the background complete the composition. It feels peaceful. Kotaku in the mist, score 6. This image stood out for me with this beautiful lighting and the superbly crafted composition. I love the way the light is dappled and gives it nuances that wouldn't happen otherwise. The lighting shows the lovely shape of its neck and that S-bend. The black and white was the perfect choice to showcase the Kotuku. Best in show.
Well done, everybody. Some fabulous images there. Hang on, I need a light, don't I? Hang on. Sorry, it's a bit bright. Right, I'll just read the judges' bio before we start. Just move that a bit, that's it. Cushla Moorhead sent this through, she was the judge. I am a photographer and an artist living in Pegasus, where I have been for a year now and have joined the Kaipoi Camera Club. Before that, I lived in Motueka, is that correct? Motueka. And belonged to the local camera club there, where I held the position of secretary for a few years and the position of image convener. I have a diploma in digital photography and a diploma in arts and creativity. I took part in one of the early judge workshops to help my own photography and somehow ended up doing judging as well. I do different genre as I like variety. I also like creating composite images when I have the time and just playing around with images generally and effects. I enjoyed evaluating your images and seeing all the varied subjects. There were some beautiful images here. Thank you for asking me to take part. I think we had a total of 25 images, 26% accepted, 15% high accepted, acceptance honours 6%, and 1 best in show. There was 68% that were accepted out of the images entered. So, as we move along, I'll hand over to Janine.
Great, thank you. Right, so the first of the accepted was Pattern on the Beach by Anne Yuan. Rhesus Macaque Sense Danger in Kathmandu by Alistair Phillips. On the Beach by Ian Walls. Illusion by Diane Kelsey. Honey Eater by Diana Andrews. Meeting Friends by John McCall. The Church by Ian Wall. Dusk by Penny Kennedy. White Tulips by Diane Kelsey. This is the first of the high acceptances. Swirl Light by Anne Yuan. Kia Rivalry by Dawn Kirk. Suresh Sherpa from Nepal by Alistair Phillips. Littleton Port Marina in the Fog by Jan Bogue. Fur Seal Pup by Penny Kennedy. So these are the Honours Awards. Diffusion by Jane Barnes. Dunes in the Afternoon, Namib Desert, Barry Dench.
Thank you. Yeah, good place.
And Honours and Best in Show, Kotuku in the Mist by Dawn Kirk. Oh, Dawn. Sorry, I've got your ribbon.
Oh, thank you.
So we'll go through some of the images and people can talk about them. It'd be great.
Put you on the spot,
So I went to the nesting place and the track was all flooded, so everyone else who was in the group went in the four-wheeler and the trailer, and I had gumboots, so I went ahead. And I got there and opened the door on the hide, and it was just sitting there. And
Where were you?
oh, I don't know. Where? Wataroa. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, where they nest.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it was just, there was the light on the water. It was very lucky. Yeah.
What was next? Can you go back, please? Barry, oh, right to the back.
Oh, this was taken in Sossalvlei in Namibia. I was with a group of photographers from the UK, and it's interesting that the the guys ran an online critique, and the comments were exactly the same as the judges, so I've actually amended the photo. But I'd already matted it, so I didn't want to do it again. So, fun place to go, but it's hot.
This was just taken in my kitchen. Just dropping dye into a fish tank, and interestingly that she notes that there's a bit of blue to the side there somewhere. I can't see it at the moment, but it's been heavily wiped out around the sides just to give a cleaner image, I guess, without the blue around there. I know there is still a little bit right around the bottom, but because I just took out all the paler stuff. So yeah.
Is that the end of the honours? No? Okay. What time? Does anyone want to say anything about the images? Who was this? Sorry, I missed that. Penny again.
We were wandering around the rocks in Kaikoura and came across this huge area of babies. Most of the mums were, I think, out fishing. So we just walked around, and one of them decided it would attach itself to the guy walking next to us, and it thought he was his mum, and so it just followed him and followed him and followed him. And I turned around at one point, and this guy was just sitting there on the rocks, and he just did this big yawn, and then as he closed his mouth, the tongue was still sticking out. So I just happened to be right place, right time.
Who was that? Jan down there.
This is taken in Littleton Harbour. It was a foggy day, and I liked the placement of the three buoys. But other than that, it's a very old picture I took. In fact, I think I might have been on one of the walks where John Suckling was there. I took a picture of him once.
Dawn again.
This was at the lookout at Arthur's Pass. That's right, isn't it, Carolyn? Carolyn and I were up there, and these two were just having a bit of a dispute over something. So I got quite a few photos, actually. It was nice of them to keep going for a while. I didn't ask what they were arguing over.
I did this image at CPS one workshop. It's called light painting. Thank you, Jen, to teach us, and Ellen will help me as well.
I was swirling the thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's it? Okay, so thank you to Nicola for reading and to Diana for presenting our certificates tonight. Thank you.
I feel bad now having rushed you through tea because we've finished quite early. Does anybody want to ask any questions or contribute anything, or should we just have a few minutes to look at the prints? For the finals night, yes, there was Janine posted something on Facebook the other day, and I sent out a brief email. I can also send out one telling you, basically it's the same information on the back of the prints that we've had all year, no names, and just put preferably which competition it was in. It makes life a bit easier when we check them off, and your number and the title and the year is helpful. Because occasionally, I think one year we had some from another year in there, which was a bit confusing. So it does help to have that on the back. Please make sure you've got no name identification on there. We're also, as I mentioned earlier, if you put NH on the back for an open competition with one of your images, you've obviously want that to be judged at the end of the year as a natural history. So we'll be pulling those out of the final judging, as they will go to a specific natural history judge. Is that sort of, everyone happy with that? Sort of clear? Okay. Just trying to think what else. Hopefully we can get them in by next week, and we'd like to send them off by about, I don't know, about the 20th or something like that. Do you think? It just takes a day or so to go through them all and sort them out. And also JK's away, but he's also asked you to start polishing your trophies and bring those in. I think he's not back till the 22nd, so probably don't bring them in next week, otherwise somebody's going to have to take them home. So probably the week after, if you can, bring them all in. Nice and clean and shiny. Okay. I think that's about it. Anything, Ian, you want to add? No. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. Drive safely and see you next week.